Well, hello there, everybody. It is Tara here from Autism Little Learners, and I am so glad you're joining me tonight. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about, which sometimes is kind of weird for a speech language pathologist, but I think because I've been teaching in a classroom setting instead of doing only speech therapy in a typical manner, we do the potty training, and so it has become one of my favorite topics that I just love. So, thank you for being here, and let me know in the comments. As always, I love to know who I'm talking to. Are you a teacher, a parent, SLP, an OT, grandparent? What role do you have in the life of a child with autism? And let me know where you're watching from. I live in Wisconsin, and I work just across the border in Minnesota, so I'm a suburb of the Twin Cities, Minneapolis-St. Paul area, but just across the border in Wisconsin. So I am a Packer fan, even though I work over in Viking country. Sky, thanks for being here. Sky's a parent, and Madison is an ECSE teacher. We have Sky from Ohio. Awesome. Jennifer from Sydney. I'm assuming from Sydney, or your child's name is Sydney? Not sure. Jen from Canada. Oh my gosh, lots of parents here. Holly, hello. I am so glad that you can make it tonight. Yay. As I said, I am here to talk all about potty training. So I've got my little toilet here and I'm ready to go. It's been a long day and I think I got my second wind here with you guys. So awesome. Oh yeah, Jennifer's from Sydney. Awesome. And Nellie from Florida, and Debbie from Texas. Hello. Oh, and another, I saw Janesville, Wisconsin, another one, Wisconsinite. And Anna. Hi, Anna. I have not seen you since before the pandemic. She lives in Cottage Grove, Minnesota, which is another suburb of the Twin Cities. All right, let's get this party started and start talking all things potty training. I'm assuming if you're here, you are working on potty training with a student or with your own child. So hopefully I can give you a couple tips that are actionable to get started right away. Like I said, I'm Tara Tuchel. I help parents and educators kind of getting over that overwhelm and knowing where to start with materials and trainings and hopefully actionable steps that you can put into place the same week if needed in your classroom or home. All right, so potty training. It's one of the biggest things when kids come into our early childhood program. Parents really want their kids to talk or communicate, and they want kids to get potty trained. It's a huge deal, and I hear you on that. So I'm going to come at you with some ideas today, some visual supports, and I hope that you can put them into play at whatever level your student or child's at. So, where do you start when you have a student or a child that's not showing those readiness signs yet? Do any of you, let me know in the comments. I love a lively group, so I love seeing your comments pop up. I don't feel so alone here behind the screen. Desiree said, will this be recorded? Yes, so it'll be available after I'm done here on Facebook. So let me know in the comments, do you have a child or student that's maybe not showing any or very many readiness skills yet? You know, they don't seem to notice if they're wet or poopy. They haven't peed in the toilet yet, so they're just getting started. Oh, Holly says yes. Okay. So I have some ideas tonight for things that you can do because it is a journey and it is a path, and our ultimate goal right at first might not even be peeing in the potty. I mean, that would be great, but we need to take those baby steps to get there. And have you heard of the term interoception? Let me know. Hi, Mahi. I'm so glad you're here. Putting your two kids to bed. Well, thanks for stopping in to say hi. I love it. Joanne says, my son doesn't show me or just doesn't care, not sure which. Okay, so I'm going to talk about interoception. This is, for me, feels like kind of a newer term. And I've heard a lot more talk about it lately, so I wanted to share it with you. And interoception is the ability for a child or anyone to sense and know if they're thirsty, if they need to go potty, or if they've eaten too much or eaten too little. And so when you talk about interoception, there has been research and studies done now that say autistic children have a delay in interoception. So that can affect self-regulation, which is what we talked about last week. It affects managing emotions because these are like internal states, right? Sleeping, toileting, knowing if they're sick, and also eating. So do any of your kids or students have issues with any of these things? I know last week we had a lot of people join us because we talked about self-regulation, and that is a big one, managing emotions. But I know a lot of my students, in addition to toileting issues, they have trouble with a regular sleep schedule. They maybe don't feel pain the way other people do. You know, they'll fall down and you can tell it hurt, but they just get up and walk away. They might not notice, like, it's really cold outside in the snow, and they would just stay out forever. Okay, yeah, so you guys are seeing a lot of this, yeah, sleeping. So instead of feeling bad, like, oh, you know, why won't he let me know he has to go to the bathroom? If you can change the lens and say, okay, we've probably got a delay in interoception here. And so it's nothing you're doing wrong as the parent or the teacher. It's just that they have trouble sensing that. And so even when we talk more about potty training and we talk more about getting on a schedule for that, I have kids that are potty trained that still don't let anyone know that they have to go, because I think that internal sense, that interoception, is affected. And so I've heard talk of it when I was kind of researching this. Interoception is talked about as the eighth sense. And so a lot of people say, you know, we have our five senses, but then if you're in the autism world or the special education world, we talk about the vestibular sense also, knowing it's like your balance and stuff, and then you have you have vestibular and then proprioception, knowing where your body is in space. And so now they're talking about this interoception as an eighth sense, knowing your internal states. And studies have shown a lot of kids who are autistic have impairments in this, but they said it does improve as kids get older. So it doesn't mean they're always going to be this affected. So what can you do if this sounds like your child? Well, there's so many steps that go into potty training, and steps that don't actually involve peeing in the potty. So there's a lot you can do before they actually pee in the potty, and that's what I'm going to go through tonight. So different skills you could start with is just getting comfortable in the bathroom. I don't know if any of you have, or if your child in the past has had trouble just entering the bathroom. The pressure of, you know, maybe they've sat on the toilet and got scared before. If they are afraid of the flushing, and we'll talk about that a little bit too. So at first, if they're reluctant to even go into the bathroom, that's a great place to start. And I'll give you some more ideas on that in just a few minutes. You can start with teaching them to dress and undress themselves. That's going to be a huge skill that's going to be needed lifelong, right? Holly says, I have one little in my class that I didn't think they didn't think going to the bathroom would work. It used to be a struggle for them, but lots of routine and consistency and visuals. Now they do it on their own. They just need reminders. Hang in there and it'll come. Don't give up. So true, Holly. I've seen it over and over. Some kids are quicker than others, but it's okay. Like, whatever their journey is, we meet them where they're at. That's our job. So some kids learning the undressing and dressing skills, sitting on the toilet, just that in itself sometimes is a big skill we need to work on. If you're not sitting on the toilet, you're not going to pee in the toilet, right? Or poop in the toilet. So that one has sensory issues with it and stuff. So that one just in itself, washing and drying hands. And we just need to remember with any of these things, let's keep it relaxed and low pressure. The last thing you want is a big, stressful, forced, we're going to sit here or we're going to go in. That is probably the least effective way to get somebody to go to the bathroom. I mean, there's certain things you can't make another person do. One is go to the bathroom, and two is eat. You can't make someone eat. You can't make someone go to the bathroom. So let's keep it relaxed and make it hopefully fun and the least amount of stress as possible. So what you're going to want to do is go and download. I'll put this in the comments when I'm done, but you're going to want to go and download the toilet training tracking sheet that I have. And so I'll show you in just a minute. There. Okay, so in here you're going to find just some ways that you can track. So the one on the top here is sitting on the toilet. So if you're not even at the point where you're not working on peeing in the toilet yet, because if it happens, it will be by accident, and that's great, especially if that happens when you work on sitting on the toilet. So for those kids that are a little afraid to sit on the toilet, you can start tracking it and just trying to work it into a routine. And when I talk about the visual supports, I'll talk more about that. On the right hand of your screen is the toilet training tracking sheet. So that's when you're sitting and you're starting to track, their diaper was wet at 10 a.m. and you track that. On Tuesday, their diaper was wet at 10:30. And then you start to go, okay, it seems like it's usually wet between 10 and 10:30. That would be a good time to start practicing sitting on the toilet, because we might catch them. They might pee accidentally in the toilet. So the important thing to understand is that, if you're multitasking, come back to me and listen. It is harder to change an established routine than it is to start a new routine. So think about this. That can be why it's difficult for kids who are autistic to make that switch from diapers to underwear. So let me know in the comments, do you have kids that insist on wearing a diaper? I've had this a lot, because for all their years that they've been alive, they wear a diaper. They know how it feels. And you think of the sensory aspect of changing from a diaper and then wearing underwear. That's a really difficult thing to do. And for those kids that are maybe a little rigid about changes. And as Cynthia says, yes, only to poop. So some kids get smart and they'll put the diaper on to poop. But as an in-between step, so this is one of those steps that doesn't involve peeing in the potty as the outcome. This is just a step of preparing to get there. If you have a child that refuses to take off the diaper or wear underwear instead of a diaper, I should say, you can try putting the underwear over the diaper or putting the underwear under the diaper, because it'll make it easier to switch to underwear later. So I have a student right now that was just diaper, and he could even verbalize, no, I want diaper. And so with him, I took a teddy bear and I put a diaper on it, and then I did this in front of him. Okay, the teddy bear's putting the diaper on. Oh, and now teddy bear's gonna wear his underwear over the top. And so we watched that. I did a little handwritten story, and we're gonna try to put your underwear on top. So then they get used to pulling underwear on, and it will kind of bridge that kind of reluctance to do that. Now, as kids get closer, where they're starting to maybe pee on the potty sometimes, you might want to put the underwear under the diaper, because then they'll start to feel, diapers are so good at wicking away all the wet that they're comfortable. They don't feel the wet. And so if you put the underwear on and then the diaper, then they'll feel some of that wet. So that's just a little tip. It'll make it maybe a little easier to switch to underwear later if you're doing that. A quick note about flushing. So sometimes people get hung up about flushing the toilet. They need to learn to flush the toilet. Well, I don't know about you, but for me, that's probably the last thing that I care about in this sequence, right? I want kids to learn to go potty in the toilet and consider that sensory aspect of flushing. How many of your students or kids, especially out in the community, the loud flushing toilets, how many are frightened by that? I've had quite a few over the years. And so for me, I'm not going to make them flush it or even be in the room. Like, that can come later. Let's get them going to the bathroom in the toilet. And then once they don't have so much anxiety around that, then we can teach them that. I mean, it's really not worth it to have that big rise in anxiety or crying or fear. Like, I've seen kids fearful of it. So with those kids, I always tell them, like, we don't have to flush it. I'm not going to flush it. We're just going to sit on the potty, no flush. So I can reassure them and make sure that they're not anxious. Okay, so let's start talking about some visual supports that you can use for the potty training journey. And they can be really great for helping with a predictable routine for children. I just have to say, Joanne's comment, she said, my son freaks out, especially with automatic dryers. Yes, like, it's just startling for kids that are hypersensitive with their hearing sense, and it's just not worth it. I'm sure, Joanne, you feel the same way. Like, if they pee in the toilet or poop in the toilet, I'll be so happy. I do not mind being the one to flush, and I'll wait till after they leave the room. Right? Let's get real here. Okay, so visual supports, they can create that predictable routine so that things become automatic and you don't have so much of us trying to give the direction verbally only where it sounds like blah, 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 blah. This is going to help keep it the same or as much the same as possible every time. And then you create that routine, like someone said earlier, he may not say he has to go, but when you have built this routine, when you at least prompt it, they'll go in and do the routine. I put up a Instagram reel this morning with a little video of this, but at home especially, one of the things you can do is just I just Velcroed this on just to kind of show you, but at home you could have the bathroom picture on a cup, and then you can just have a lot of these little bathroom pictures throughout the house. And you just start building this in. So have this like on the sink or somewhere in the bathroom. And as you say to your child, okay, we're going to go to the bathroom, you can show them a picture with it. So, okay, it's time to go to the bathroom. And you can help them carry it. And then eventually you might be able to just give it to them. Okay, we're going to go to the bathroom. Well, the act of carrying this and putting it here when you get to the bathroom, it will get the kids to the spot they're supposed to go to, right? And it becomes a routine. Oh, she gives me this picture, I put it in there, and boom, I'm in the bathroom. So that is one thing you can do to get that transition going, get them into the bathroom. Does that make sense? In my classroom, I have the picture on the right. We have our visual schedule, and then we have a little bit of a bigger picture of bathroom with a Velcro strip across the bottom. I just thought at home you don't always want a Velcro stuff to the wall, so a cup is kind of nice. But in the classroom, we have this. So kids check their schedule. Okay, we have bathroom on there. And then they walk into the bathroom, and they match it. You can see I don't know how much you can see of this picture, but there's the bigger one, and then the little one is Velcroed right on it. So it's a great way to transition kids to get into the actual bathroom, and it creates that routine. Some other visual support examples. I don't know if you guys have seen this little wearing underwear, and it's just a little one I made for a student that loved Paw Patrol, and I found some pictures of Paw Patrol characters with underwear on, and I'm like, okay, we're going to make that. So it's just like Chase wears underwear and Marshall wears underwear. So you can have that, make it into a little book or put it on a ring. And I'm showing you this one because if you choose they're maybe not ready to pee in the potty yet, but if you choose, okay, our focus is just going to be about wearing underwear. And so then you can read social stories about wearing underwear and trying to make that switch, or like I said, having them over under the diaper. This is one skill. Now, if you download, when I put it up, the tracking guide, the toilet training tracker, in there you'll see a whole list of skills that come along with potty training, with actually peeing in the potty, and you can choose some of those. And so you'll feel like, okay, I'm making forward progress. I'm choosing these skills and checking them off one by one. All right, we're making it to the bathroom. All right, it's time to undress. I'm going to start to pull the pants down and see if they can finish and get that in. So you can just have all these small little steps of success along the way to actually peeing in the potty. This little activity is kind of fun just because we're talking about putting underwear on. They can Velcro on the underwear onto the people, the kids. Here's the one section that just talks about sitting on the toilet. So it's not just, I don't have social stories just for using the toilet, which I do, using the potty. This one's about peeing in the potty. But there's some that just talk about sitting on the toilet, because for some kids, that's the step we're on, right? Okay, we're gonna take our bathroom picture, go in, and they might even sit on the toilet with their clothes on, because we just want to do a 1, 2, 3, all done, and then build from there. So a story about sitting on the toilet is good. And then it's always fun when you get to this point. I can poop in the potty. So a lot of our kids will get, and it's common with any kids, like peeing in the potty comes first and then pooping is later. But I had a student last week, you guys will appreciate this. I had a student last week that was working with a sub that was in our classroom. And she said, Tara, he just said poop is brown. Does that mean anything? And I'm like, it means Tara's changing a diaper. So, I don't know. I thought you guys could relate. Poop is brown. That's been kind of our joke all week now. Poop is brown. It's not what you want to hear in class. Anyway, I digress. Let's keep going here. I do have some books too where they're interactive, so you can take the picture from the left to match to into the book, and helps with vocabulary and just becoming familiar with all things toileting. We want this to be fun. We want it to be low pressure. There's the using the potty. And then we have first then too. So this is where you can say like, okay, first we're going to pee in the potty, or it might just be sit. We're going to sit on the potty, and then we're going to do bubbles. And so just having like a first then with something they really, really like, and kind of showing them. First, I don't do it as much with actually peeing in the potty, because we just don't have much control over if that happens or not. So sometimes rewards work for that. But if they're just learning, we might do a reward just for trying, or like I said, sitting on the toilet, or whatever piece you're working on. Put underwear on, and then, we'll go play the iPad. So just be thinking of all these little steps and the little things you can use to support it. And then these are the bigger sequences, and this is a free sequence that you guys can download. So I will link this in the comments too. Do any of you out there watching have this sequence yet? So you can kind of put together whatever you need in the sequence, and then I like to attach it to the wall, and usually with something where you can take it off. I think I said this in something recently, like if I have a student that I'm showing the picture of peeing, I don't want them to be looking to the side when they see that cue and maybe start to pee, because the pee's going to go everywhere. So a lot of times I'll take the picture and take it off the wall and put it in front of them, so they're looking forward when they're seeing the peeing picture. And I know you all know that makes total sense. So this sequence, you can piece together what you need. You can make it into just a sitting on the potty, or you can make it into a peeing in the potty or a peeing / pooping. You guys will also like this. I couldn't find any good clip art that showed poop in the potty. And if you Google poop in the potty, you don't want to see what comes up. And definitely not appropriate for school. So I got custom clip art made with this poop picture. And my poor fiance, like when that came, I was so excited. I'm like, look at this poop in the potty picture. This is so exciting. And he's like, okay, if those are the things that make you excited, Tara. But, like they got to see what it looks like. Our kids, if they're shown just a picture of a child sitting on the potty, and then you say, okay, we need to pee in the potty, well, if the picture just shows someone sitting there, they're going to be like, well, I did it. They don't know unless you show them like the poop, or you show like a yellow pee. Like, you've got to show what it looks like. And that's why a lot of times if you have peer models at school, or your siblings at home, where they can kind of watch and see what's supposed to happen. Another piece of potty training that you can work on that doesn't involve peeing in the potty yet is that whole piece with washing hands after, and getting that into a nice routine. So when they finally are peeing in the toilet or pooping in the toilet, you have all these other pieces put together already. They can come in the bathroom. They can pull their pants down. They can pull their underwear down. Unless they have some motor issues that they need some help, or they're really young. But you can get all these things in place so that when they start peeing in the potty, you're not dealing with all of those things. Those things are in place, and that leaves them, the last thing left maybe is just actually peeing in the potty. And I know that a lot of times my students, once they do it once you catch them, or it goes in there once and they see, a lot of times that's all it takes. Not that it's going to be perfect after that. They're kids. There's going to be accidents. But once they make that connection, things really seem to improve. So there's the washing hands. Just tape it right onto the mirror so they can look at it and you can point to it as you go along. The visual supports just help for visual learners. And a lot of times when kids get to the point where they're, like sometimes, like any kid, a parent or teacher tells them what to do and they're kind of like, nah, I don't want to do that. But for some reason, when you have pictures and you point to those, it's like, oh, I got to follow that. But we all start sounding like the Charlie Brown teacher. Wah, wah, wah. And then this is the other thing I was going to show you. This is something I'm testing out. The awesome girls over at Goalie, it's a company, they have this little device, and it's for parents or schools or whoever, and you can program in any routines. And so it's like kind of like a digital visual schedule, but you can also put in videos. So anyway, this one I'm testing out at school now, so I'll let you guys know how it goes. The couple kids I've used it with have really liked it. And so you would just do, like, this is in the middle of the potty training routine. So we'd get there, it maybe at first said, go into the bathroom, okay, pants down, underwear down, and then sit on toilet. And so then it has a little timer there. Okay, we're going to sit for 1 minute. And they love like looking at this and watching it. And then when they're done, I just press the little green check mark and it goes to the next thing. And you can program in what your sequence looks like for your child. But next week, for my Facebook Live, I'm going to have, I can't remember if it's 1 or 2 of the girls from this Goalie to join me. It's my first ever interview, I guess. We're going to be just chatting and discussing, not just like Goalie, but using some of these things in a digital format for kids that are really attracted to that. But this is nice. It has a pop socket on the back, and so when it's time, like at the sink, I just set it right on the sink, and I could see my student like looking at it, and sometimes I'm like, oh, time's running, hurry, let's get it done, hurry. And if you're taking too long, it'll make this like knock, knock, knock sound, and I can see the kids look, like it draws their attention over, oh, I better get going. So it's been really fun to trial this for a couple weeks, and I just want to share more about it with you. A lot of the resources I showed you and talked about tonight are in my potty training resource. If you don't have it, go take a look. I put it on sale for $4 off for the next week, and it's just autismlittlelearners.com/potty training. I'll put it in the comments too, but be sure to watch the comments after I'm done here for the free sequence, because no matter what, you're going to want to grab this, and that's completely free for you to download. All right, like always, I talk about if you do not have my visual support starter set yet with the all done bucket, the weight mat, you guys tell me in the comments, has anyone used any of these things yet from the starter set? The star chart, like I've gotten so many pictures of teachers using and parents using the weight mat this year. It's like mind-blowing how much success they've had with it. And it's literally a sheet of paper that you print out and laminate or put in a protector, and holy smokes, like I had a little guy yesterday, he had 2 dinosaurs, and we were doing an activity that he really needed his hands for, and I just put the weight mat out, and he looked at it and set him on there, because he knew that is the routine, and he trusts, you're going to get this stuff back. So we did a little activity, he got it back, I brought out a second activity, he put them back there. I didn't even have to tell him anymore. Like I didn't have to prompt him or knock on it, or so the weight mat, Cynthia says the weight mat's amazing, you guys. So anyway, the visual support starter set is, I'll put it in the comments, but it's autismlittlelearners.com/visuals. You'll love that. And if you are just love visual supports as much as me, come join my private Facebook group. Sometimes we do little challenges in there, or I post some freebies. So hop over there, and I'll put the link in the comments for that too. And like I said, next week we're going to talk to the ladies from Goalie about ways that you can use like a digital format, some different digital opportunities for visual supports. So, Debbie said my favorite's the weight mat. It's been a game changer for a couple students. And Patty, weight mat's been magic for a few of my students. You guys, if you get a chance and you use a weight mat, send me a picture. Like I love, it makes my day every time I see one. So I hope tonight gave you a few little ideas. I do have I have one past Facebook Live about potty training too that you could go back and watch. It's on YouTube now. It's probably easier to find it there than on Facebook. So I'll link that in the comments too. But thank you for being here. Reach out if you have any potty training questions, and I'll be doing more stuff on potty training in the future. It's a big topic, and we all want our kids to be potty trained. So I'm here for you, and I'll link everything I promised in the comments, and have an awesome rest of the week. I have 2 days of school left. It's time. This has been a rough year, a good year actually, but hard. So I'll see you next week. See you later. Bye.